What is up, guys? It's your boy Lucci back again with another Call of Duty Warzone video, and today we're going to be starting a new Call of Duty Warzone series where I go over some of the best tips that I think you should know if you're trying to get more wins in Warzone. Today's video is more general tips that I think will be best suited to players who maybe have a couple of wins or maybe don't have any at all and are really looking to step up their game and figure out what they can do to actually secure the next W. I plan on doing plenty more of these tips and tricks videos, including some more advanced tips and tricks in the future, so if you're not already a subscriber here, make sure you hit that sub button with the bell notification turned on so you never miss a future upload. If you guys are ever looking to come hang out in the stream, I stream on Twitch almost daily. The links to my stream and all of my social media accounts will be in the description below. And last but not least, we are partnered with G Fuel Energy, so if you're looking to save yourself 10% on your next G Fuel purchase, you can use code Lucci at checkout to save yourself some money. Without further ado, let's get into 5 massive tips to help you get more wins in Warzone. Number 1 is going to be coordinating your drop. Sometimes it's not enough to just pick a location and land there with your team. A lot of these places, guys, they're pretty big, and if you land too separated from your other teammates, you might just find yourself in some trouble. Try to focus on one side of your landing spot to all land together to give yourself the best chances of fighting off any enemy players that might have landed with you. One of the worst things that can happen is you and your teammates get way too separated and nobody's there to help each other should you actually get in a fight early game. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes this works out, and sometimes you're good enough to fight those enemies off by yourself. So if you guys start to notice that you're dying a lot right off the drop, you probably need to take a look at where you guys are landing individually. If you guys decide to land somewhere like hangars, call out what hangar you're going to land at. If you land somewhere like Superstore, are you going rooftop, and which side of the rooftop are you landing on? Are you going back window? Are you going front doors? These are the little things that you got to communicate with your team that's really going to separate whether you live or die off the drop more consistently. There's no sense in wasting your trip to the gulag on the drop when you can easily just land close to your teammates where you can all work together and just get yourself some guns. Tip number 2 is going to be use UAVs. I don't know why, it should be obvious, but I feel like I don't see enough people actually purchasing UAVs when they have spare cash. Now yes, a lot of people run the Ghost perk, but a lot of people don't. And the other thing about Warzone is you cannot assume that everybody on the map has a loadout at all times with Ghost on it. A lot of players will have come back from the gulag recently or just lost a fight and got revived and therefore don't have their perks anymore. Trust me, I promise there are plenty people on the map that you can use a UAV and effectively find people for you to hunt. And hey, you don't always have to be the most aggressive team. I understand not everybody wants to hunt people with UAVs, but you can still use them defensively and use them to your advantage by finding out where people are located around you and then rotating and getting a better position based on their location. At the end of the day, once you have some spare cash laying around and you don't know what to spend it on, I'd say UAVs are probably your number 1 go-to, and I think more people need to be taking advantage of them. When you sit there and think about it, popping a UAV doesn't cost that much, and it's just free information. Again, use that information however you like. If you're a more aggressive team, feel free to push those little red dots that show up on your UAV. If you're a more defensive team, feel free to just rotate and get better position here. But either way, it's good information, it's free information. Well, maybe about $4,000, maybe not free, but you know what I'm saying. Tip number 3 is going to be buy yourself self-revive as soon as possible. Now, personally, I think you should buy your loadouts first, that way you have your ideal setups, but immediately after buying your loadouts, your next priority should be to get your team self-revives. Having everybody on your team with self-revive is a massive advantage against teams that don't have self-revive. There are plenty, and I mean plenty of situations where you go down and you have plenty of time to get a revive off, but maybe your teammates can't get to you because they're stuck under enemy fire. Being able to revive yourself while your teammates are holding off the enemy mid-fight is invaluable. This allows your teammates to keep focusing on the fight and buying you time to get back up, armor up, and get right back in the action. Another great part of this is if you're far enough away from the enemy team where they won't be able to hear the audio cue for you reviving yourself, they will have no idea that you're even up and back in the fight, ready to take a new angle on them without them knowing about it. You'd be surprised how many times you can turn a fight around in your team's favor with a properly timed and properly executed self-revive play. As a player with 300 plus wins in Warzone now, I've had so many experiences where self-revive has won myself or my teammates the game where we otherwise would have just been dead. Just trust me on this one, guys. Get your team a loadout and then start prioritizing getting everybody on your team self-revive as soon as possible before mid to end game. Tip number 4 is to trophy system your vehicles whenever possible. Vehicles are a super fast and super reliable way to transport yourself and your team around the map, but without a trophy system, you and your entire squad in that vehicle are sitting ducks to all types of explosives. Without a trophy system in any vehicle but Big Bertha, the truck, you're gonna die to 1 C4. Same thing goes for RPGs. In anything other than Big Bertha, you're gonna die in 1 RPG. There is nothing more disheartening mid-match than getting your loadout, being fully decked out with self-revives, and boom, you guys are all dead because you're driving around in a quad and you get C4'd from the side of the road. Trophy systems will help protect your vehicle against incoming explosives and stop them in their tracks. Now, you can't possibly block every angle on the vehicle with the trophy system. If you put the trophy system on the hood, your rear vehicle is exposed, but I found that most of the time just popping the trophy system on the hood is enough to protect you guys for the most part. Keep in mind that the trophy system can only protect you from 3 objects or 3 pieces of equipment that it can stop. Also, the trophy system lasts 10 minutes, which is a very long time, but just that information alone should let you know that you're not indestructible just because you choose to have a trophy system on the vehicle. All it's going to take is a few RPGs or a combination of that and some C4s, and that trophy system is down and you guys are exposed again. So if you can, in the heat of the moment, try to keep count of how many projectiles or equipment pieces your trophy system has blocked. That way you at least have a brief understanding of how much more it can take. Overall though, trophy systems are a great way to move around the map fast with vehicles, but also offer yourself a little bit of protection so you don't lose everything you've just worked for. Tip number 5 is going to be avoid commonly camped locations. First and foremost, you should be avoiding downtown like the plague if your primary focus is to actually get wins. I can promise you that places like downtown will be absolutely littered with rooftop campers, rooftop snipers, and rooftop guys with RPGs just waiting to get an easy pick on you and your team rotating through the city. It's a cheap tactic, but sadly, it's massive height advantage and it just works, which is why you see so many people doing it. Unless you absolutely have to go through downtown because the circle is rotating through there and it's endgame, rotating through there is pretty much just asking to get killed. If it's anything past immediate early game, you can probably bet money on it that there's a team on a rooftop waiting for someone like you to rotate through. If you really want to go for wins and get your win counter up there, you're going to want to avoid places that enemy teams can get a surprise jump on you, and downtown is the absolute worst place for that. There's a couple other honorable mentions of campy spots on the Warzone map that you should probably avoid if you're trying to get wins. One of them is the SOS towers that are located between train station, hospital, and superstore. I will put a picture on screen if you don't know where I'm talking about, but these towers are a hotspot for campers, snipers, and really just any team waiting to ambush players that might go for that cheeky little buy station between the 2 buildings. If I had to give you a number of how many times I've rotated past these towers and seen an enemy team just sitting on top of it, it would probably be 7 out of 10 games. That's not to say you can't challenge these players and take them out, but they're probably already set up with their loadouts, snipers, and RPGs, so you might have a better time just avoiding it altogether. The second honorable mention for worst camping spots to avoid if you're trying to actually get a W in Warzone is the giant airport control tower or space needle that's located off the side of the airport. This has single-handedly got to be the most annoying place to deal with campers. If you're trying to get a win in Warzone and you see an enemy team camping there with snipers, please just avoid them at all costs. Unfortunately, there are only 2 ways to get up in that tower. One is a direct zip line right to where the enemy team is, and the other is taking a helicopter and just going right at them. Basically what that means is they are free to stay up there until they have to move unless you snipe them, but chances are they're just going to keep reviving each other until they have to jump out of that tower. Those players know that they have the literal best vantage point on the map, so don't expect them to move too much unless forced by the circle. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for today's video with the top 5 massive tips to help you get more wins in Warzone. These tips are very easy to start implementing into your own gameplay, and I promise you, if you do consistently, you're going to start seeing some major improvement. If these tips helped you in any way today, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell notification turned on, just so you don't miss any future Warzone tips videos, class setups, and guides. I plan on doing a lot more of these tips and tricks videos in addition to a lot more Warzone class setup guides, and actually starting to dabble with some more of the COD multiplayer. A lot of you guys in the comments have been asking me if I play multiplayer at all, if I only play Warzone, and actually I do play a bit of multiplayer, even if it's only to grind out for the Damascus camo, but maybe I'll start dabbling in some guides for multiplayer setups and stuff like that. In addition to all of this guys, I just really want to reach out and say thank you to each and every one of you who's been supporting the channel. We recently, before recording this video, hit over 8,000 subs here on the YouTube channel, which is nothing short of amazing to me. I never thought we'd get to this point. The TikTok, if you don't already follow me over there as well, it's Lucci TV on TikTok. I'll put it on the screen. We're over 286 or 87,000 followers on TikTok at the time of this recording, which is absolutely mind-boggling. So to all of you who are from TikTok, who have been coming over to the Twitch streams, who have been coming over to the YouTube channel, and even if you've been following my Instagram, which I've been trying to grow recently, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. All of your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to see what the future has for us. That's it for me today. Make sure you keep an eye out for more tips and tricks videos and class setups coming really soon this week. And as always, peace.